Hi, everybody, and welcome back to College Planning Tip of the Week. I'm Nancy Steenson with Steenson College Coaching, and with me, as always, is Jack Wang of the Smart College Buyer Program. So, Jack, I wanted to ask you, college is expensive, and it just keeps getting more expensive. Can you share with us what is the best source of aid for students?
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. Oftentimes people get hung up on filling out the financial aid forms, right? What goes on the FAFSA? What doesn't go on the FAFSA? Does this count? Does that count? Whatever the case may be. And yes, those things are important. Now, if you look at the numbers year over year, the largest source of financial aid, unsurprisingly, is from the federal government. However, the majority of that money is in the form of loans. But if you strip away the loans and you look at things like grants, then the largest source of financial aid is not the federal government. It's actually the colleges themselves. And it takes different forms, right? So when we talk about colleges providing the aid, it could be scholarships or things like need-based grants, but essentially it's money from the colleges themselves. And you don't necessarily have to go to a college that has a huge endowment to have this. All right. But if you understand that the majority of the money comes from the colleges themselves, then you got to think about sort of, well, how does that work? Remember, if it's their money, their rules. So while they might go based on the FAFSA or the other financial aid form, the profile form, but that's not always the case. So how you maximize your dollars from the college is really about positioning. So I know we've talked in the past about things like merit aid and scholarships, right? And it's how the student appears relative to the other applicants. And I know we like to joke about how many boxes the student checks off, but it's really true, right? If a student is really the type of student that the college is looking for that particular year, whether because that student came from the right part of the country, boy versus girl, they're applying to a major that the college is really trying to build up, or they have really good grades or any other factor, right? Artistic, athletic, whatever the case may be. Well, if that student checks off those boxes, then that student in general would get more money. Same thing about positioning finances, right? There's been times where families will get need-based aid to supplement merit aid, even though the family is really wealthy, but because the school really wants to attract that student. It's all about positioning. So understanding that is really the key to lowering the cost of college and maximizing aid. Now, the federal aid program is important, and you don't want to miss out on that money. You have to fill out the FAFSA in order to get it, but that's really not where the majority of the money comes from. Again, the majority of federal aid is in the form of loans, which if you want to take out loans and have to pay them back, fine. But if you're looking more for free money like scholarships and grants, those come from from the state itself. I'm sorry, not from the state itself, but from the schools themselves, otherwise known as what's called institutional aid. And that's really the key. That's where you want to play. And the bottom line is it's all about positioning. Not all schools offer merit scholarships. Keep that in mind, right? So it's not always about grades, but it's still about positioning. So that's the key to getting more money.
Jack, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. It sounds like what you're saying is the colleges who give merit scholarships all have their own institutional priorities. And if you happen to check the right box at a particular school, you could get a lot of money. And if you don't have to happen to check the right box, you may not.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Jack. That was great information. And I look forward to seeing everyone next time on College Planning Tip of the Week. Thanks so much.